This is Bagpuss. Bagpuss is 50 today. Let's have a chat with BBC Berkshire and celebrate Bagpuss.
Now, as you will have heard, the children's TV show Bagpuss turns 50 years old today. Who would have guessed that a pink and white striped cat puppet would have become such an icon when it first hit our TV screens in 1974? And that's the thing with kids' TV. You can't always predict what is going to take off. So what goes into making a brilliant children's TV programme? We are going to hear from Marc Silk, voice actor who's worked on a number of iconic children's TV shows. And I understand, in part, it started with Bagpuss. That's what got your love affair with kids' TV kick-started, Mark.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, good morning. How you doing? Can I just say thank you for celebrating Bagpuss like this? I've loved listening to the show this morning.
Yeah, well, I think people of a certain age, I was trying to explain this to the younger members of the office on Friday, who looked at me kind of open-mouthed as though I was hallucinating when I tried to explain the appeal of Bagpuss, which is almost possible to put your finger on, I suppose. But yeah. if you are, of a similar age to you and I, there was a certain magic about it, wasn't there?
Yeah, I just stopped in my tracks earlier hearing Sandra Kerr on the previous show with Vernon talking to her, the voice of Madeline and the composer. Yeah, I adored those shows. It was a really special time for children's television because Oliver Postgate, he'd just done Over the Engine and The Clangers, and then to create this was so simple. The actual show itself was so gentle. I think that's the thing that's so endearing and has stood the test of time. They were so sweet, the characters, and listening to Oliver Postgate's voice, it was like getting a vocal hug every time Bagpuss started. But it was, I was fascinated by how they made them and how the whole thing was created, because you watch Bagpuss and other shows that he created and others like that, and you knew that this was created in the real world. They had that beautiful look of stop motion, which meant that these lived and existed at some point in time. You felt you could reach out and touch them and hug them and be part of their world. And when you look at, say, early CGI and compare it to how CGI looks now, it hasn't aged well. This was made in 1974 and still is wonderful, and you can still love it, as much as you did back then.
Obviously, so much has changed since 1974, and you're going to be well aware of that in terms of how children's TV programmes are made. As someone who works in bringing the characters to life, so much of these characters that we now see on our TV screens, as they were back then, is down to the voice. How do you go about figuring out how you want a character to sound?
Well, it goes back to something you said earlier. What makes a great TV show, a great children's TV show, or any great TV show? And it's brilliant characters. You start off with, I often get shown a picture of the character and then told the characteristics of how that person, that slug, should sound. So, for instance, there was a lovely show called Fifi and the Flower Tots that I worked on with Jane Horrocks. And I was shown a picture of a slug. And he's kind of like a big, quite a little, got a bit of weight on him. And we try to work out how it should sound. He was quite a large slug, so I gave his voice a bit of weight down there so he could shuffle along. And then there was something that needed a little bit of extra magic needed to be added, which we found out was moisture. So to make him sound slug-like, he developed this sort of beautiful, endearing, huggable nature. But it's quite simply any great show or film that you love. It's great stories, great characters, great performances. And then the rest is however you decide to tell that story.
What kind of reaction do you get from children, when you meet them? Because that's the thing with TV, I suppose. You don't get that immediate reaction, but presumably in your day-to-day life you might. But as somebody who someone wouldn't necessarily recognise as being a pivotal part of a kids' TV programme, presumably as soon as you open your mouth, they're open-mouthed, aren't they?
Yeah, because I'm not a known face, and I love it that way. I do a lot of Comic-Cons, and you meet and greet people, and you sign stuff for them, and answer their questions, and talk to industry and education, and it's so lovely to give something back. I know what it would have meant to me, and still does now, to meet people who I just adore their work, and to be part of that. It's wonderful. I mean, I for nearly a decade, it's me that you heard in America and Canada as the voice of Bob the Builder. So over here, it was Neil Morrissey. In the States, for nearly a decade, you'd hear, "Hi, Bob the Builder here. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. Come on, Scoop, Mike, Dizzy, let's go." And then we did a whole load of new Pingus. So, as well as all the, "Did you about the Pingu?" You heard me as the narrator go, "Hello, Pingu. What's that, Pingu? Really, Pingu? Oh, Pingu. And then Fifi and the Flower Tots and Roy the Racing Car and Chicken Run and Star Wars and New Thunderbirds, New Danger Mouse. There's loads of games. There's loads of stuff. Usually the people whose work I love as a viewer, they also came from this kind of background that just adore brilliant storytelling. And Bagpuss was so influential. If you look at what art and animation is doing with Chicken Run and back in the days of Morph and all those earlier shows and Shaun the Sheep, it's using the same techniques that Oliver Postgate made. And again, you want to hug the characters. It's just gorgeous to go back and watch these now.
And they are a very exacting audience, kids, as well, aren't they? The mistake you make is to underestimate them, because actually they are pretty fussy when it comes to what they're watching.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. You never, with one other secret with kids' TVs, you never talk down to kids. You always speak to them on the same level. You know, they are smart. If you think you can get away with it because it's just kids' TV, well, think again. I mean, again, there's a beautiful show a very cool show I work on called Go Jetters, and I'm the evil bad guy called, well, I'm not really evil, he's just misunderstood, he's just naughty, called Grandmaster Glitch at your service. Go Jetters, available on iPlayer. But again, the animation, the quality of it is stunning. The artwork's great. The new versions of Danger Mouse we did a few years back. Again, the standard of the music and the performers and everything it's done on a really great level. But then you can take it all the way back to what really matters, which is great stories, great characters, and then you've got Bagpuss.
Marc, it's lovely to catch up with you. Thank you for coming on. That's Marc Silk, voice actor, who, as you will have heard, has worked on all sorts of things, including Bob the Builder in the US.
Thanks a lot.